first day of Miami Dolphins training camp is in the books, and oh boy, do we have a lot to talk about. Loaded show here at Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. We have a Tua Tagovailoa update as he is going to do a little bit of a hold-in at Dolphins training camp. Odell Beckham Jr. injury news. We'll have takeaways from the first practice, which also include a potential Jevon Holland injury. And then Miami, they signed a wide receiver as well. We'll talk about who is the newest Dolphins at the end of today's show. But that is why you are going to be needed to be subscribed to the channel, because we are going to have all the news, notes, rumors, takeaways from Dolphins training camp as we lead into the preseason and ultimately the regular season. We're about 57,200 subscribers right now. Let's get to 57,500 as soon as possible. Hit that sub button. Also turn on those notifications so you never miss a beat around the Miami Dolphins. All right, we'll start with the Tua Tagovailoa update, as Cameron Wolf had the little note this morning that Tua is going to do exactly what he did during mandatory minicamp. He is going to do individual drills. He's going to do 7-on-7, but he's not going to do any 11-on-11 drills. Mike McDaniel was informed of that, and when he spoke to the media this morning, said it's important to acknowledge that Tua is in the process of contract negotiations. Everything is very fluid, but at least as of now, Tua is not going to be participating in 11-on-11 drills. And I'll say this. It could be worse, but it's not ideal. Like, it could be Tua just not showing up to practice whatsoever and really doing a holdout, really putting the pressure on this front office to get a contract done with him, to get a long-term deal done. Not the case. He's still in the building, working in team drills, participating in some activities well, 7-on-7. But it is important to me to get 11-on-11 work. So the fact that Tagovailoa is not doing that, it's not the best case scenario. Hopefully this gets resolved and either Tua starts to participate in 11-on-11 drills in the next week or two, or the Dolphins end up extending number one and we can really put all of this behind us. All right, let's transition into Odell Beckham Jr. injury news. This happened late yesterday afternoon, and you were with us on the live show that we did. You would have known this. If not, you're getting informed now, which is why you should show up to our live shows on Tuesday afternoons. But the Dolphins placed Odell Beckham Jr. on the physically unable to perform list. Not that big of a deal, in my opinion. He's working through some minor injuries, but the 31-year-old wide receiver is going to take some time to return to the Dolphins practice field. Mike McDaniel actually had a little note on this morning as well, saying that OBJ is working his way back as he starts on the PUP list. Doesn't want the wide receiver to be compromised in drills, and that's really the important thing here, right? You just need to make sure OBJ is healthy for the season. He's an experienced wide receiver. Yes, it would help probably to be in this offense, learn the lingo, get some reps with Tua and some of the other wide receivers he's going to play with. But an experienced player like OBJ doesn't need all that much practice. And I need to give you guys a little PSA. Don't be concerned. I am not concerned with OBJ's injury status. I fully expect him to be ready to go for week one against the Jaguars. I'd actually expect, in my opinion, for OBJ to be back and off the PUP list practicing with the team in 2 to 3 weeks. Like I said, I think there's nothing to be actually concerned about here unless we get another update on OBJ's injury saying it's more serious and he could be in jeopardy of missing time. At least as of now, come off the PUP list anytime. I'm not worried. But are you worried? That's the question of today. Are you concerned about the Odell Beckham Jr. injury and him being placed on the PUP list? Let me know. Type Y for yes or type N for no. All right, let's go into what actually happened at Dolphins training camp today as the team wrapped up practice around 12 p.m. Eastern time. There was a lot of takeaways. Defense, Mike White, need for speed. We'll get through them all here. And we'll start with the number one takeaway, in my opinion, and it was the fact that this Miami Dolphins defense absolutely dominated practice today, whether it be 7-on-7, 11-on-11. Sure, the offense had their moments, but it was mostly carried by the defense. Travis Wingfield had the first note here saying, practice of the wrap. The defense had themselves a day with 4 INTs. Vanderberg, Nick Needham, Jordan Poyer, Saran Neal. Defense did a great job of creating pressure and got after the quarterback. Did also note that Tua was surgical at times at 7-7, had some good darts, but having 4 INTs on day one, that's really ideal. And the part that is the most intriguing to me is the fact that Travis said the Dolphins front four, and they were getting a ton of pressure on whoever was at quarterback for the Dolphins. And remember, folks, Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are not practicing yet, which means these reserve guys and depth pieces like Emmanuel Ogbah, Chop Robinson, Mo Kamara are already creating some havoc. Wingfield had a more note. Quentin Bell was all over the field. He was an early standout, and Emmanuel Ogbah and Deshaun Hand both had a sack. And he said on the back end, Kendall Fuller and Jalen Ramsey looked as advertised, baiting quarterbacks in the throws, playing multiple roles. Fun to see on day one. We've talked about this in the past. I am absolutely ecstatic to watch this defense take the field on Sundays. They are going to be so good. Like I said, this team's not even fully healthy. And sure, Tua did not participate in 11-11s. And Dolphins and offenses are really always slow to get going in training camp because they haven't been working together. And the defense always have the upper hand early on. But with this roster, if they stay healthy under Anthony Weaver, with the multiple looks he'll give you and the multiple pieces that he has to play on the chessboard, this Dolphins defense is going to be elite. Top 10, bare minimum. I think it's going to be top 5. Expect to see a lot of turnovers created by this Dolphins defense this upcoming season. More to talk about here in just a second, and you might be able to go see those Dolphins defenders play in person when you use our ticketing app, Game Time. I appreciate them for sponsoring today's show, and I'm glad they do because it's the only ticketing app that I get to use, and I enjoy that because they are the best. Make sure you get your tickets with Game Time, whether you're going to a Miami Marlins game, a Miami Dolphins game. You can get tickets for the 2 home preseason games this upcoming year. But if you're not in Miami, that's cool. You can go to your own location, use Game Time for concerts, comedy shows, whatever venue you want to go to. Game Time is the best place to go do it. They've got last-minute tickets with the lowest price guaranteed. They also got deals as well where they'll just randomly throw a little percentage off your purchase, your ticket for you. I love when they get that and get the little knockdown on price. Like you said, lowest price guaranteed for a reason. It's why I love using Game Time. So make sure you get hooked up with the best ticketing app on the market. It's the one I use when I go to events here in Dallas, Texas, where Chat Sports is located. I only use Game Time. That is for sure. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets when you download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for your first purchase to be $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. That link will be in the description and comments as well. Or you just go to your local app store and click on that nice little white G with the black box and get the app downloaded today. All right, next practice takeaway for the Miami Dolphins. Mike White struggled pretty heavily. We mentioned a little bit earlier that the Dolphins defense created 4 interceptions during the team drills. Well, 2 of them came from Mike White. Tua had 1 as well on a tip, which means 3 of them are accounted by your top 2 quarterbacks. The 2 defenders that got the interceptions, Jordan Poyer and Siran Neal, former Buffalo Bills. And then on 1, he said that Brandon Pili would have had been a sack if the play was allowed to be continued. So not the best day for Mike White. 2 interceptions. Not ideal for him. Because we have often talked about how he can be a cut candidate on this team. If you cut him, you save $3.1 million in cap space. That is pretty beneficial to Miami. And if he gets outplayed by Skylar Thompson or Gavin Hardison, the UDFA out of UTEP, in training camp consistently, then there's no need for Miami to really keep him around as the backup to Tua Tagovailoa on that price tag. So if Mike White, I know it's only 1 practice and we got a long ways to go, folks, but White not getting off to a hot start, turning the ball over early and often, he cannot continue to do that if he wants to have a spot on this roster. All right, the need for speed is the next practice takeaway. What do I mean by that? Well, we know the Dolphins have the most explosive offense in the NFL with people like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane just lighting up the 40-yard dash numbers. And, well, we got a Tyreek Hill sighting, folks. No surprise from David. Tyreek Hill was phenomenal and dominant with whatever quarterback threw his way. I actually posted a video on my Twitter of Tua and Tyreek hooking up on a deep ball. Well, I told you guys to follow me on Twitter. You're going to see the latest on news and highlights in training camp. But Devon Achane also had a big play. Travis said that he had one of those slippery home run runs. Looks in midseason form already. The second note about Jevon Holland getting injured we'll talk about in a second. But with Devon Achane showcasing his speed, we know how good he was as a rookie, coming back for year 2. He's going to be really good alongside Raheem Mostert and Jalen Wright, Tyreek Hill. This Dolphins offense has speed. They're going to use it quite well. Well, let's talk about that Jevon Holland injury now, because Adam Beasley had the initial note on it that Jevon Holland had a hard fall in collision in coverage, and then after that collision, he did not see the field afterwards basically at all. The collision happened during 7-on-7 drills when Tua Tagovailoa kind of threw a 50-50 ball, tried to fit it in between two zones. Malik Washington was the intended wide receiver, and the rookie wide receiver and experienced safety collided, and obviously Jevon Holland did not see the field after that. I don't think the injury is serious, which is really good news for Miami because they cannot have an injury to Holland because you do have Marcus May there in the wings, but I'm not really that sold on a Jordan Poyer Marcus May safety tandem. And with Holland entering the final year of his rookie contract, I'd like to see him ball out and stay with Miami. And he's one of your best young building blocks in that secondary anyway. You need Jevon Holland healthy if you're the Miami Dolphins. Hopefully it's not too serious. I don't expect it is. It's probably just a collision. They're being cautious on the opening day of training camp. Well, let's not jinx it, right? Let's send Jevon Holland some love to make sure he's fully healthy and ready to go as we progress here through the late July and into August. Send him some love by spamming his jersey number down in the comment section. Spam those 8s, baby, down in the section below. All right, let's wrap up today's show with who the Dolphins signed. This happened yesterday afternoon when Taj Washington, the rookie out of USC, was placed on the injured list, which practically redshirts him, and he's out for the year. Wide receiver Tyreek McGowan is your newest Miami Dolphin. Here's the backstory on the wide receiver. He was a UDFA in 2022 out of Georgia Tech. He did not start his entire career there, but he transferred there for his final season at the college level, and he finished his final year as a Yellow Jacket. He played 2 games for the Washington Commanders in 2022. Really didn't put up any stats, really never saw the field. Was not in the NFL in 2023, not on an NFL roster, that is, but then returned to the National Football League and was a practice squad member of the Jacksonville Jaguars for all of 2024. So to me, if you want a quick takeaway on Tyreek McGowan, you're not going to see anything from me outside of just a camp body. You're going to need to fill these rosters with players for camp battles, for position group, and position drills, and training in preseason games. Like, there's no chance of Tyreek McGowan making this team. He's just here to give the Dolphins another camp body. Don't look into anything further if you're asking me. But that's why you subscribe here at Dolphins Today, because even when they make these minute signings that mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, we're going to have you covered. So hit that sub button, folks. We're going to be here all summer long leading up into the regular season, getting started on September 8th against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like always, I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins.